Alright, my second YouTube video. Let's get right into it. What I'm about to share with you is absolutely the #1 tip for growing houseplants. It's how I've grown all of my biggest and best houseplants over the years. And I'm telling you, if you focus on this one thing, you will be successful in growing houseplants too. So you know when you buy a plant at the store and it says thrives in bright indirect light? Nobody tells you what that actually means. Bright indirect light is simply the light right outside the beam of direct sunlight. But here's the catch, it can range wildly depending on where your plant is or what time of day it is. And that's why so many people get confused of what is bright indirect light or where should I put my plant. And here's how I make sense of it. I break down light into 3 categories, low, medium, and high light. Every plant in my collection fits somewhere in this range. So let me walk you through each one so it's crystal clear. And stick around because when I show you a so-called low light plant grown in high light, it's going to change the way you think about growing houseplants. And that leads me to my #1 tip for growing houseplants, prioritizing light. Once you understand light, everything else, watering, soil, humidity, fertilizer, becomes so much easier. Strong light makes your plants so much more resilient, even if you're inconsistent in other areas. So what I'm about to do is give you a bunch of foot candle numbers, but just bear with me because I'm going to explain all of it at the very end. So first up, high light. That's between 500 and 1,000 foot candles of light. This is where I've grown all of my biggest and best houseplants. For example, my Epiprimnum pinnatum Cebu Blue. This thing is just a pothos, but I put it on a moss pole and I grew it under high light and it grew into an absolute monster with these massive fenestrated leaves. I freaking love it. The Cebu Blue will do really well in low light, but if you grow it in high light, it will transform into something amazing. But there's some plants out there that really need high light to thrive. Think fiddle-leaf fig, most palms, bird of paradise, succulents, and alocasia. Alocasia, for example, if you grow them in low light, they're only going to have a few leaves, but if you grow them in high light, they're going to hold on to a ton of leaves at the same time. These plants are not going to look their best at low light or at the lower range of medium light, but in high light, they'll absolutely thrive. So again, if you've seen some crazy plants on my page that I've grown, it's probably grown in high light. And now medium light, that's between 200 and 500 foot candles of light. This is the sweet spot for most houseplants, and I believe most people will have great success in this medium light range. Most windows in the east, south, and west should be able to achieve medium light somewhere throughout the day. This is the range where I grew my beautiful Philodendron micans up a moss pole. It's also perfect for plants like Monstera, Philodendrons, Anthuriums, Hoyas, most tropicals. If you want your plants to not just survive, but to thrive, grow, and change over time, this is the range to focus on. Now low light, I say that's between 70 and 200 foot candles of light. This is where the true low light plants can still thrive. Plants like the ZZ plant, snake plants, calatheas, peace lilies, pothos, all these can excel in low light. At that lower end, plants will grow pretty slowly, but if you approach that 200 foot candle range, your plants will definitely start growing. The pitfall that most beginners fall into, they put their plant into a really dark corner, way under 50 foot candles of light. Some houseplants might look fine and stay the same for over a year, but out of nowhere they'll just crash. They weren't thriving, they were just barely hanging on. That said, lower light plants are great for filling in lower light parts of your home. And if you move them into higher light spots, you'll really see them take off. Let me tell you a quick story about a low light plant in 2020. I came into this dark office and found this ZZ plant was sitting in this dark room with no light and no water for over 8 months. I grabbed it, started watering it again, and put it into a bright window, and boom, it came back to life. It was the most rewarding thing. So these low light plants like the ZZ plant are tough plants and they really can take a beating. Now, you must be wondering, what the hell is a foot candle? It's just a unit of measurement to measure the light intensity on a surface. I like to use a simple light meter. You can use a phone app if you want, but this is what I like to use, and it changed everything for me. Once I started measuring and figuring out light, I grew every plant in my collection to absolute perfection. And just remember, light changes all throughout the day, from the morning, noon, and afternoon, so it's a good idea to just take a measurement throughout the day to get a basic idea. And if your windows are not giving you enough light, you can use grow lights. I've used a ton of grow lights over the years and had a lot of great success with them. I use them in my office, I use them around my home, and they've helped me grow some amazing plants over the years. So here's the bottom line. Figure out which of your plants are low, medium, and high light, and then place them accordingly. Some will tolerate low light, but if you want to see more growth, push them into a higher light section. That's when you'll see what I call sport growing, when plants get big, bold, and beautiful. And one more thing, people always ask me how I grow such perfect houseplants. The truth is, I only bring a plant home if I have the right lighting conditions for it. Personally, I'd rather grow a handful of plants in near perfect conditions than dozens of struggling ones in suboptimal conditions. And it always comes back to prioritizing light. Don't get lost in all the hype about special fertilizers, soil recipes, and humidity levels. Those things matter, but not nearly as much as light. Master light and you will be successful in growing houseplants. Alright, so that's it. This was my second ever YouTube video, so I hope it was good and you learned something. And I just love growing beautiful houseplants, and I want to teach all of you how to grow beautiful houseplants. So if you learned something today and you want to support me, hit like and subscribe. And my name is Jake. I like to grow plants and post them on the internet, and I'll see you in my next video. See that? That's my Alocasia caprea. You want to guess how it grew like that? Fertilizer? Ha! Yeah, right.